This is a video about solving absolute value inequalities in one variable. Compound inequality consists of two inequalities joined by the word and or the word or. Ands are compound. There is a value that it needs to satisfy a top and a bottom bound. Or, the word or means that you can have two different answers, sometimes two inequalities, or when you solve absolute values depending on what you get. So if I solve this out, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Because whatever you do to the middle, you got to do to both sides. Divide by 3. Okay, so on a number line, what you would have is you would have the answer of 4 and you would have the answer of 7. Because these are both equal to, you would have the solid circles. And your solution would be the values in between. To double check, make sure your answer is right, pick a number that's less than and greater than to make sure that the solution works, or disprove one on the other side. So if I pick 0, negative 2 is not bigger than negative 10, and also less than 19. It satisfies one of them, but it doesn't satisfy both. If I pick 5, 15 minus 2 is 13. 13 is bigger than 10 and also less than 19. That is not equal to, so that needs to be actually an open circle. I apologize, I didn't catch that. So that needs to be an open circle. And then if I pick a value bigger, 10, 30 minus 2 is 28. 20 is bigger than 10, but it's not also less than 19, so this value doesn't work. This one over here can be an or. Pick either answer, so minus 3, x is less than 2, or divide by negative 1, x is greater than or equal to 4. So on this number line, at 4, I have a closed circle and it's going to go bigger. And then down here I have a 2. This is an open circle and I want values less than. And here it's a closed circle and I want bigger values. So it's a closed circle. Make sure that I can tell open versus closed. And then secondly, any number can satisfy. So if I pick a number less than 2, it would work. If I pick a number greater than 2, it would work. If I pick like 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, which is not less than 2. That one doesn't work. And then negative 3 is not less than or equal to negative 4. So a number here in the middle does not satisfy either equation. This satisfies one or the other equations. The next thing we have is solving absolute value inequality. So the best thing to do is when you're solving absolute value inequality, follow these steps. Get the absolute value brackets alone, meaning you have to treat it like an equation. Do not distribute inside. Make sure the absolute brackets are on the left side. If you do that, it's a lot easier to see if it's a greater or a less than, and I'll explain that here in a second. Decide whether it's an and or compound inequality. So if you have absolute value is greater, then answer greater. Absolute value is less than a number. This is less than. So it's kind of a cheat sheet trick. So on this one here, we're going to switch the order. We're going to put absolute value D greater than 2. So when you're doing compound inequalities and you multiply by a negative number, you got to switch your symbols. So you got D is less than 2, D negative 2, but this is multiplied by a negative, so you got to make sure you switch your inequality. Okay? So a value less than 2 and a number greater than negative 2. So on a number line, I'm going to have negative 2 and I'm going to have a 2. So this is an open circle here. I don't want all the values bigger. And this is an open circle. and I want all the values smaller. Now, how do I know if they go past each other and fill in that gap? I'll pick a number and plug it in and check it. Over here, if I pick a number, 5 is the absolute value of 5 less than 2. This doesn't work, so I checked 5 and it doesn't work. Pick a number over here, pick -5. -5 doesn't work. If I pick a number here in the middle, 0, is 0 less than 2? The answer is correct, so this would just be shaded area only. Also, that's an AND. So my answer would be -2 is less than D, which is less than 2. And that's my answer, and that's my graph representation. Make sure you know how to do both. I don't live and die by rules. I always plug numbers in to see if they work. These X's mean they don't work. 0 works, so I put a check mark. Check on the next one. Absolute value. It's already by itself, so to solve this out, I have 2x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 4. That's case 1. Case 2, I'm going to change to a different blue pen. You're going to do 2x minus 2. This becomes a -4, so then I have to flip my sign. Remember, if you multiply by negative in inequality, even if you're changing it, you need to change your sign. So solve it out. Plus 2, plus 2. 2x is less than or equal to -2. Divide by 2. X is less than or equal to -1. Plus 2, plus 2. 2x is greater than equal to 6. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X is greater than or equal to 3. So this is a great OR. So that's an OR inequality. Or what I like to do is I like to just graph on the number line and figure out where they fall. So I have 3 and I have -1. Graphing my solutions, I want a number bigger than 3. It's a solid dot. Goes this way. This is a solid dot as well. And it wants less than -1. Then I check numbers to make sure my answers are correct. So I take a number over here. So I'm going to take -2. See if it works. 2 times -2 is -4. Minus 2 is -6. The absolute value of -6 is 6. That is greater than 4. This works. Plug in 0, because 0 is between -1 and 3. So we'll check 0. 0 minus 2 is -2. Absolute value of -2 is 2. 2 is not greater than, so I'll put an X. Pick a number bigger, 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Minus 2 is 6. The absolute value of 6 is 6. It's greater than or equal to 4. So when I checked 4, that worked. This is an OR inequality, so you would write it out as X is less than or equal to -1, or X is greater than or equal to 3. Last problem. Make sure when you're solving these out that you do the math that you need to do. So plus 7, absolute value of 2x plus 2 is less than or equal to 2. So I have 2x plus 2 is less than or equal to 2. That's the first case. The second case would be 2x plus 2, what's in the inequality, change the sign to minus 2, flip the inequality. Solve it out. Minus 2, 2x is greater than or equal to -4, divide by 2, x is greater than or equal to -2. Another case, minus 2, 2x is less than or equal to 0, divide by 2, x is less than or equal to 0. So on a number line, I'm just going to do it right here. I have 0, I have -2 and 0. 0, -2. This is numbers bigger than -2, so close circle going this way. Less than, close circle going this way. Check points, so I'm going to check -3, I'm going to check -1, and I'm going to check 1. So plug -3 in, -3 times 2 is negative 6, plus 2 is negative 4. Absolute value of negative 4 is 4, minus 7 is negative 3. This works. Plug in negative 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 2 is 0. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Minus 7 is less than or equal to negative 5. This one works. Plug in 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Excuse me. 2 plus 2 is 4. Absolute value of 4 minus 7 is less than or equal to negative 5. This one works as well. Since all three work, this is actually the whole number line. So my answer changed from dots to being the whole number line. And then this becomes all real numbers.